And welcome to coffee and frozen breakfast sandwiches. I had the heater running all night and I still was wearing a whole bunch of layers to bed. It was chilly. When I was out on the cement last night waiting for videos to upload, I was having a heck of a time because, again, I'm feeling the cold come up through the sleeping pad. I'm going to check the store one more time, see if there's anything I can use as insulation, but I'm not hopeful. I actually made coffee just because I haven't got to make coffee in a long time. But it was Folgers and I couldn't even choke down more than a cup, so via it is. And outside it is once again bitterly cold, but hey, it's only supposed to get down into the 20s instead of the teens tonight. I pretty much had everything triaged and ready to go last night. Yesterday afternoon before I decided to stay here. So I've got another 5 days of food to get me through 104 miles, and right now I'm just drinking as much as I can. Coffee and water, but coffee. Lots of coffee. I am for once editing yesterday's video while still in town. Advantages of no internet. I can't get anything done, without going across the street. And I'm just waiting for the general store to open so I can check for one or two things. I'll probably take another long hot shower because I'm anticipating it's going to be cold for this next section. Good news is, if my guesses on water is accurate on this next section, it shouldn't be too bad, assuming I can keep a reasonable pace. There's nothing ridiculous. I was briefly worried I was going to have to deal with like 40 plus mile water periods in here. Looks like the longest is going to be in the 20s. There should be a couple of 10s. But at the end of each of those, there's always the possibility that I'm not going to be able to find any water and I'm going to have to go to the next one, which, but that's okay. By next week, Silver City. There's a nice trail angel in Silver City. There are outfitters. I can get an air mattress. It's only 150 miles of relatively flat, easy desert from Silver City. All I have to do is to survive till Silver City. I talked with Jen for a while last night. That was partially why the upload took so long, because while I can have the YouTube app has to be open in order to upload. If it's in the background, it stops. And if you do anything else, like you multitask, you have a phone call open, that tends to slow it way down, unfortunately. It was good to talk to her. It is kind of bittersweet because with our original plan, I should have been done by now. I should have finished up, been back to my parents, and been back to Southern California. As I mentioned before, we got rid of the van a couple of months back. Actually, more than that, I guess, before the Mississippi. We've lived out of a van in campgrounds in Southern California to kind of make the money situation out here work. That ended up being more complication than it was worth because we still needed our vehicles for various things. You can't drive a cargo van around and like scuba dive and whatnot. And so we got rid of the van and we have a rental that we're going to try out that's in like a remote area because, I turn into a hermit these days. She was there, sent pictures. It looks really cool. We're supposed to be there from this weekend until March. And unfortunately, it's going to be another 3 weeks at least until I see it. That's okay. I am making good progress. Honestly, if it wasn't for the cold at night, I would be feeling a little more chipper. But this is the last big carry. It's just been a longer separation than we anticipated when we said goodbye in New Orleans. This is highly frustrating. I can either be warm or I can be across the street responding to YouTube comments and checking on things online. Okay, heavy pack, almost bursting. 5-ish days of food with a little buffer. And I'm currently carrying about 6 liters of water. I'm gonna drink one at the trailhead because the first water source is yet another one of these maybes. As expected, no replacement or supplementary sleeping pads or water filters here. Figured it was kind of gonna go that way. So, back to trail. Assuming anybody comes by in the near term. This is the same hitching spot as this spring, except there I had to do a 2-part hitch because I was going down a dirt road. This one should be a little easier since I just need to go a little bit further down the paved road. All I need is a rancher or somebody. So far, the only vehicle to come by was Forest Service, and I don't know why. It must be policy they can't give rides or something. The only time I've had one stop was in Stehekin near the north end of the PCT, and he stopped to let me know that he really wanted to give me a ride, but he couldn't because they had rules due to COVID. Times like these are when I start having doubts and going, would it be any better if I had a sign? I think the problem here is just going to be how much traffic's going by. 5 cars, still no dice. I figured out the trick. Every time I sit down and get comfortable, a car comes by. Then I stand up and they go by shaking their head. Well, we're up to about a dozen vehicles. So far, one guy stopped and was happy to give me a ride, but only halfway. And I have internet here. And I was trying to get my far out comments to update. So I decided it was better to, try and aim for somebody who can take me the entire way. Ironically, the way he was going was the supposedly harder hitch I had to do when I was on the Grand Enchantment. You basically go up this road, it turns to dirt, and you keep going for another, 13, 20 miles? Okay, back to the trail. Okay, that was one of the chillier hitches I've done, but all good. Those nice folks have a ranch up ahead. So they gave me an extra bailout in case anything goes really wrong. I'm very grateful for the ride and a little more water source beta, though the lady was trying to convince me that this was the worst part of the divide up ahead. One day at a time. My pack is fairly huge at the moment. 5 days of food plus my 6 bottles. I did leave my friend the gallon jug behind, as much as that hurt me. I don't think I'm gonna need it. So slower, heavier day, but should be improving. And after this, it's a 70 and an 80 mile carry, so today should be the last hitch and the heaviest remaining haul of the trail, unless things go very wrong. As far as hiking, at least for the moment, I'm feeling pretty good. It's just the cold has been getting to me. Last night was a very decadent pleasure, actually being inside with the heater. So it is currently 12:40. My main goal at this point is there's a trick tank in 11 miles. That'll be nice to get to and let me plan for the next water carry. In addition to the food Jen sent, I was able to purchase some socks from the general store. They're a bit heavy, but they do claim to be wool. It's mostly just kind of superstition at this point, trying to have clean socks. I really do not think that is what caused that arch issue, but they're nice to have. I was very worried about the water sources in this section. I actually had Jen and Dennis do some sanity check, double checking while I was in contact. But based on that, based on at least one pointer from a trail angel down in Silver City about a creek flowing, and the fact there is one more water cache left, at least at the moment, I'm feeling hopeful. I pulled the weather forecast yesterday and today. The trend is more moisture after a couple of days, but at least for the moment, it was just predicting part of the day, kind of similar to when I climbed out of Adobe Ranch. And that should be a little more manageable. I'm just worried about, a multi-day storm dropping a foot plus of snow. 104 miles, things get crazy. And the last bit into Silver City looked like it was pretty crazy too, so a couple of days. So if things go well, this could be the final 2 weeks of the CDT for me. Now, granted, I'm not that worried about things going well, because that tends not to be how things go. And particularly towards the end, I seem to see complications, but we shall see. So beyond this rough section, I have a box waiting for me, or I should, in Silver City. I also had a kind trail angel reach out, so hopefully if I need a sleeping pad or anything else, I can get that taken care of. The only other city south of that is Lordsburg, about halfway to the border. And at least for the moment, my goal is do quick town stops and keep moving just to finish. But we'll see. With how early it gets dark, the math as far as when it makes sense to grab a hotel and stay in town tends to be a little different. I actually had a bit of a scare while I was doing laundry. I thought I had lost the cable to charge my inReach and my headlamp. Now, I really don't care with the inReach, because since I don't use tracking, the battery on that will last, 2 months probably, since I just turn it on at the end of the day to send a ping and check messages. However, the headlamp, that one did have me kind of bummed, because I do prefer hiking towards the end of the day and stretching into dark there rather than starting early in the cold. Fortunately, right after I had checked half the town to see if anybody had a micro USB cable, I managed to find it somehow, so it's all good. This is yet another reason why I would really prefer to switch my headlamp and my inReach to USB-C. I just can't justify, several $100s on an inReach just to change the port. I mean, I did on my phone, but that's different. Again, the inReach works fine. I barely have to charge it. And the headlamp, I just have not found anything that I like near as much as the Nightcore NU25. The original one, not their attempt to release an improved USB-C version, which they really messed up. It really did end up being a good, refreshing town stop for me. Even if they didn't have any prepared food, even if I spent half the night waiting for things to upload out in the cold, I am just feeling far happier. And again, the outlook is, at least to me, feeling a little better than it did coming out of reserve. I even got to watch the new Doctor Who special, the one that brings back Tennant and Donna Noble. And even if they weren't doing quite what I had hoped, it was at least watchable again. I have been watching Doctor Who since the new Who revival, but the showrunner that took over for the 13th Doctor was enough to break me after a season. I even bought the next season, and I've tried to watch it a couple of times. It is great when a show is really good. It's even fine if it's just fine. And if it's really, really bad, it can be entertaining. Kind of the worst sin you can do with a show is to have it just be kind of meh, okay, kind of boring. And that was unfortunately the Jodie Whittaker period for me. So there's a spring down this saddle. It's the one I camped at when I came through here on the Get right after I ran into Veggie and Karma. I decided to just carry a little more from the town to save time, since there is a trick tank in another 4 or 5 miles. Trail's been nice enough through this section, but I am kind of dragging. Not sure if it's just the leaving town, the not getting enough sleep last night, or just the whole going back into another deep section. It's liable to be rather isolated. I think this trail has been, or this part of the CDT has been the most isolated I've felt out on the big three. Lonely evening out here. So that peak over there with the little tower on the top, pretty sure that's Lookout Mountain. There is a trailhead up there, and that is where the trick tank is. I think based on how I'm feeling, I'm just going to stop before I get there, deal with water in the morning. So I don't know what exactly is going on, but I'm just feeling off. I'm tired of being out in the cold wind. So I came 8 miles. I was going to go 10, but this is fine. I don't feel like being out in the dark tonight. Hopefully better in the morning. Home sweet home. I do kind of hate myself for stopping early in relatively mild conditions like this, but you know, quite often when I come out of a productive town stop, I haven't had enough sleep, and it's just harder to kind of drag myself down the trail. And end of the day, 2 miles today doesn't really matter that much.